First of all, a great welcome from Relux to you all for our session today, ReluxSport, And yeah, personally also a great welcome to the planner, to the designer community, especially regarding sport. And I will give you the tool, what you need actually in order to be efficient for making lighting designs in sport applications. Maybe as you can see the screen already in front of you, just a short introduction from myself. My name is Karim Daoudi, and I'm working as a head of training and also responsible for the key account management here in Germany. That's already enough for introduction. You can see my contact details. If there's any questions left, you can ask me after the session or whenever you want. Okay, let's start right ahead. ReluxSport. What is it all about? I will show you everything today. At least I will just catch the things from the surface, and of course you will make and design the things more deeper with the tool, but I will tell you all the possibilities you have in your hands in order to make the design. Yes, and as you can see, you are already all experts in lighting design or in Relux desktop. So let's move on and start right away. So as you can see here in the ribbon, you have this spot icon. And but to be just fair at the beginning, you need a license, It's this spot module can be entered just with a license, in order to have the full functionality. And if you don't have a license, you will have just a basic functionality, of ReluxSport. Okay, maybe just at the beginning, enter your questions. So at the end of my presentations, I'm going just to answer all the questions which are taken by you, by the audience today. Let's start now. Here we have the spot icon. I'm just going to open the icon, and here you can see in the ribbon all the commands what you need in order to perform a lighting design for sports application. The first step, it's always to define the sports area. I'm just going to open it. You will have this window in front of you. Of course, in 95% of all the cases, you will follow the EN 12193, the standard. Here you have indoor and outdoor applications. All 99 sports application modules are inside, as you can see that. Then further, we will have also the UEFA standard. Very soon we will also include the FIFA standard, and with the time we will increase this table, of course, regarding the requirements from the associations worldwide. Okay, let's take the simplest case. Let's take a football field. So here we have it. As you can see, first of all, you have to define the lighting classes. Let's take lighting class 3 for an example. Then you can already see the dimensions and the calculation grid points for the PA and the TA area. And you can also define, let me say, some the vertical lux levels in order you need them to evaluate TV broadcast events. Here we have a TV broadcast events. I think this is 600, 700 vertical lux, and major broadcast events, it's 1400 regarding the standard 12193. Okay, let's keep it out at this point and just define the football field. Here we are. So let's take it maybe more like that. And let's see if I have already hit the nail correctly, or maybe I have still to make some adjustments. You can do that, of course, here. Let's see. No, it's okay so far. Yeah. Let's have a look on the 3D. So now you can see the football pitch is already set up. And here I can display, for instance, the grid points, but I cannot see them now. I have to, first of all, to change to the 2D view. And now let's just display the calculation points. So this is the calculation grid. You can enable it or not. So here on the left side in the project tree, you can see the PA and the TA area. That's also clear. And that was the first step. You have first to establish the profile, I would say, the application, the sports area. So here in the football one, we can still see in the properties that in the description you have just lighting class 3 activated. This is lighting scene 1. So we don't have other lighting scenes, but we can further include this as well. So second step is always here to go to the auto placing. You can also, or let me say the second step is now to make the pole configuration, I would say. And the pole configuration, you can also just enter here the luminaire group, but then you will do that without luminaire arrangement. You're just fixing one pole, but I want that the luminaire arrangement together with the pole configuration will be done in one step. So therefore it is recommendable always to go here to the football one command, or let me say to the icon football one, and then activate auto placing. So having done that, let's wait what will happen now. The product selector, first of all, it's opening. So I will take a pre-configurated luminaire. Here we have this visor LED floodlight, or let me first just switch off one thing, application visor LED floodlight, say okay. At least one luminaire. Okay, I have done just a small mistake because I have not pressed the add button. It can still happen for a very senior designer, I would say. Let's do that again. Here we are. Let's go to the visor LED floodlight and here the add button. And now I have to say okay. And now the next window is opening, and now I have different arrangements of the luminaires. I can have this kind of arrangement or this kind. So if somebody is coming now to me and tell me I need 6 poles, then it's not a problem. I will repeat this step a little bit later, but then just with this arrangement, then I will have 6 poles. That's also possible. So as of now, let's take this arrangement here, this 4-pole arrangement. Here you have some parameters. This is the H stands for horizontal positioning and vertical, and V stands for vertical positioning. So that means the positions of the pole, I can still shift them towards the X and Y direction, and here you have the measurements for it. Then we have here the angle to the goal line, especially UEFA and FIFA requirements. If you have here the goal, regarding the goal line, there's an angle here of 15 degree you should not exceed. That means in this 15-degree angle area, it's forbidden to install a pole. So, and you don't have to bother anything. It's just if this is becoming below 15, it will be signed in a red color and you are aware of it. That's all about. Okay, then let's go to create. Now I can determine the things a bit more in detail. So let's say we have now pole luminaire 4 times, I will say. I will just name it, then I will press here on the icon 4 times. And on the right side, you can already see how it looks like, the configuration. Of course, I can make it now more precise if I go now here to combination. So now I can define more parameters. Even the height I can extend it. Here we have it 16 meters. I have a 4 luminaire arrangement on the pole. If I want a second row, I can say here, let's make it 2 rows and then say create. And here now, if I'm updating the issue, you can already see I have 2 rows. Of course, I can set here the spacing a bit better. And a very nice feature additionally, as you can see here we have an inclination of the luminaire arrangements on the pole. Here it is 15 degree, because sometimes for the maintenance guy, he is just climbing up here to the platform and then is just executing maintenance work, and you have a lot of poles which have this inclination of 15 meter. Otherwise, if we don't have it, you have to arrange everything with the hand, and this is, I think, very painful, and just to have it as a pre-setting, you are avoiding a lot of pain, I would say. Okay, let's go back. Let's take just one. And then let's move on here to the luminaire list. First of all, I have to update, of course, again. So now we have to just one pole with 4 luminaires. Still 2. Okay. So now it's updated. Go to the luminaire list. Here in the luminaire list, I can still edit everything, every single coordinate or inclination of the luminaires. And I can also, if I have added previously in the products another luminaire, I can also change the luminaires within the pole. That's also possible. Okay, by having done that, I'm just going back here to combination, to the spot arrangements. Here you can still see a wheel. Even here you can enter some settings, as you can see that, the height and also the offset between the luminaires and further on. Just confirm it with OK, and here everything we are confirming now with OK. Now we can already see the final luminaire arrangement, how it looks like, and then you're just saying accept, and then it will be entered in the real project. Of course, now we cannot see the errors. I'm just displaying the errors. And here you can see the arrows are very thin. Maybe I want to increase the size of the arrows. So it's always recommendable with the right mouse click to go to the properties. And here very important, the symbol scaling. And here I am changing, let me say, I'm doing things at the beginning so it will be clear. The result size, I will also take 0.9. Luminaire error size, also 0.9. So this is done, symbol size, let's take this one and say okay, and now you can see what will happen. So we have now a dynamic zoom. So next step is to go here to the spot ribbon again, and now is to activate the real-time calculation, which is called interactive mode. This is what I am doing first. And also here the glare rating, this I'm also going to display. So he's calculating this already automatically. So, and you can see immediately on the right side on the results, I'm getting real-time results, without going for the true calculation, So the interactive mode is already enables a real calculation in real time. Okay, and as you can see, the values will be always displayed here with the calculation grid. They will be shown up. So very important, you always from the values see they are marked in different colors. The red colors indicates the minimum values, and the green colors are indicating the maximum values. So that means by doing the fine tuning, then you know which areas you have to treat with the right commands actually. So as we can see on the right side, everything seems seems to be okay until the uniformity. We have a little bit of problem. We have C 0.3. I need 0.5 according to the standard. And now I have to work a little bit. And now it's the work of the designer, more or less, based on his experience. And he has now to vanish or to comply with the uniformity standard given from this table, as you can see that. Okay, so now as you can see, we have now to go further. Let's go first here to the window, and now I'm activating the luminaire control checkbox. So, and then again, I have here the luminaire lists. They are appearing here. Here I have 16 luminaires. And here in the 16 luminaires, I also can still change the luminaires and edit all the coordinates. But here on the second button, spot pole control, I have to change here. And now you can see if I'm selecting this cell, now I'm selecting the luminaire within one pole. That's the second luminaire of this pole, the third one, the fourth one. So I can shift them if I want directly. Or I go here actually to the project tree, and you can see under the group, we have here the first pole, the second pole, here upstairs, third pole, and number 4. So if I'm going here, I can now shift the pole independent from the other 3. So there's no mirroring effect if I'm just shifting one pole. That's also possible. So, and now we have to make the fine tuning, the aiming in order to achieve the right uniformity value. And for that, we have to go here in the ribbon to the start command. And then we have here this command, it's called adjust. It's a new command. So, and here I'm just going to activate adjust. And now you can see what will happen. I can go either here into the cells, and selecting the different aiming errors of the floodlights, or I can just zoom in, hover over the aiming error, and just click with the left mouse button on it. then I can also activate the aiming angle. So, and now let's make a fine tuning. We'll make it like that a little bit. And now wait some seconds until you are getting an update of the results on the right side. So then I will go to the second one. Then I will go to the third one. Then I will go to the last one here. Yeah, I can see it's still very small fine tuning required. Let's make it like that a bit maybe. And now we see everything is in a green color, and now I'm complying with the standard. You know, this was more or less my design work. But just imagine you have a UEFA stadium and everything, so then it could take half one day, 1.5 day, just to make here the treatments with the aiming arrows. Of course, that's very, very simple example here. Okay, everything is complying right now. Another thing which is beneficial in this software, in this ReluxSport application, is the possibilities to have a multiple view. So let's see what is behind that. Now I'm just going to the 3D view. You can see in the 3D I can also display the calculation grid as seen. So, and then if I'm going here to window, and now I can split it, or I can also then go to a 4-view, 6-view possibility. But let's just go now for a double view possibility. First of all, I have here the horizontal lux levels, and here also the horizontal, but I can here on this sub menu, you can also see here the results summarized, which I can see here on the right side, just on a written perspective, and just close to it we have the sub menu, and now I can switch to the RG table. Now I'm getting here the RG values, so you can see that. And now if I go, for instance, let's say here to horizontal lux level view, I can in real time now make the movements. So let's make it, you can make it again. So I can see that here. So, and what I have done right now is I have adjusted in one view the aiming arrows, you know, so where the horizontal lux is displayed, and in the same time I can see what will be the effect of this shifting in the second view, which will have an influence on the RG results. That's, I think, the clue here. I can make one command in one view and see in real time the effect in the other view, and in the other view and in the other results. So that's very, very important and unique. You don't have, let me say, then to go to the other parameters like glare and make another calculation and another one and another one. That's not necessary. You can see everything in just in this multiple view functions. You see the effect of one change in real time in the other view. Okay, this is done. At the end of the day, we have now more or less finished the design. Let's go now to the 3D view, or let's go to the 2D view. Of course, you can also display the false colors. Yeah, here you can also display the ISO lines, take them out. Of course, you can make the scaling a bit better. Just roughly, I'm showing you this. So, but I prefer more this value table. Let's change to the 3D view. Here we are. Now I'm just going to generate a perspective, because at the end of the day, I want also to present my design in a visual way, not just the numbers for the client. And for that, we have the real-time rendering. And this I'm going just to activate and just see the effect of it. So it takes some seconds. As you can see that the rendering window is opening. So here we are. And so you still see the sky and everything. So let's make some shifts. So now I really position that a little bit like that. So, and by pressing the U or the I key, I'm just going to adjust the daytime. Let's make it maybe 10 p.m. or something like that. So now if I think everything is set right, here you can see even the stars in the sky a little bit. So, and what means a real-time render? Real-time render means if I'm going to my Relux desktop application and changing the height of the light, I will see the real effect in the renderer, what will happen to the light, you know, how the behavior of the light will change in real time. So then I will go here to the real-time render back. Here you can have many other adjustments as well. Cloud density, the render quality you can increase, use grass, use water, and so on. And here I will just go now to start to capture the screen. And he's doing now for me the job of generating the rendering for the final report. Now it's already generated. Here in the outputs, you will have all the calculation results. Especially here we have the summarization of my design. As you can see, the PA, TA area, everything is hooked. You know, you can see that here by a green mark, you know, which indicates we are complying with the standard. And of course, we can display many other values as well. Here, for instance, we have also the GR values. We can also display the illuminance in false colors. You can see that. Here we have then our real-time rendering included. And if I am happy with everything and there's nothing to add, maybe one thing is also important here to go to the project description. And here we have also the luminaire list. And this is important for the client because he can see all the poles, the numbers of the poles, and then also the aiming angles of the poles. And that's very important for the client and the positioning also where they are aiming on the calculation grid. Okay, this is done so far. And we are just moving ahead. Maybe I'm just displaying now a second one. So here you can see another design, but this time it's more or less nearly the same, but with two lighting classes, lighting class 3 and lighting class 2. Maybe at the beginning, I'm just going now here to the properties and make here also just the scaling a bit proper in order to see a thicker aiming error. So now we have done it. What I wanted here to showcase, if I'm going here to the spots area, now you can see the lighting control. If I'm pressing on this, are you sure you want to deactivate the lighting scenes? Here you can now also add lighting scenes and also control groups. That's also possible. Of course, we have already inserted. I don't want that, but you can here already see I have two lighting scenes. Lighting scene class 2. Class 2 means here on the right side the 200 lux. I can see that. And on the other side, it's the 75 lux, which I needed. And let me just go here to the window and open the luminaire control, as you can see that from here. And in the luminaire control, we have here the light scene control. If you are defining the scenes, you will get a further button here, light scene control. And I had defined two light scenes. If I'm going now to my football, going here in the properties, I have here light scene 3 and light scene 2, light scene class 2. This I just named it. Here you can see light scene class 2. All the luminaires are on. You can see 100%. You know, and in light class 3, where I need just 75 lux, I have just dimmed down the luminaires to 61%, yeah, in order just to get here the 83.6 lux. It's that means you have the possibility show the control group. You can see here I still have divided the luminaires to a second control group, but this was still done in the old school because nowadays they are just there's free dimming. They are just dimming down the values. It's not anymore like switching switching button 1, switching button 2. That makes sense to work with the lighting with the control groups to align them to the lighting scenes. Here you can also work just with the lighting scenes, different lighting scenes, but keep everything in one control group, and then you are just making the dimmings, and that's very important how to do that. So you have the possibility also to make the adjustments regarding the lighting scenes, and the control groups, can activate, deactivate that here, making the light scenes and the lighting the control groups. Another thing which is also important, I have not shown that. If I'm going now to the spot pole arrangement, here we can see 9 luminaires on one pole. You can see that here. Which is also important. I can go here, for instance, 3.3, and then I can go here and change to another luminaire within the pole. And then I can also change the groups, align them differently. That's also possible. Another thing, if I have here 9 luminaires and now I want to have 12 luminaires, I can still add these luminaires. So I can go here and build in another row just, and in this row I have then to align to the to another luminaire. So I can make here, for instance, another luminaire. Say apply, and let's see what will happen. Let's go here. And now he has created one more. Now there are 10 luminaires here on this side. And this I can now go further and define the other 2 ones as well, additionally to the 9 existing ones. So that's also everything possible. Okay, I think we have here discussed everything, the lighting scenes and control groups. That was very important. And this button, the adjust button. The adjust button, here you are making the aiming. If I'm going here, then hover over each file, then I can just make my aimings, and then I will get my results in real time. So now let's go to the last example. So let's have a look. This is a stadium, which is, or the aim is to plan this according UEFA. I have to admit that the luminaire arrangement I have took from an existing projects. I think who has done it, maybe he is already attending today to this webinar. So my best regards to him. Maybe he can recognize that. Or what is my aim, what I want to show? I want just to show that this luminaire arrangement, here you can see that. This is really specialized for a UEFA design, for a UEFA standard. And UEFA standard means always you will not find anymore, let me say here on the corners, the poles or something. This is still old school. Nowadays regarding UEFA or FIFA, you will always have an elliptical arrangement of the luminaires in order to fulfill the UEFA and FIFA standards. Why elliptical? Because you need to fulfill the vertical lux levels, for the big broadcasting events and everything. Champions League we are talking here. So, and if you don't have an elliptical arrangement like that, you will not achieve that with any other arrangement. So in modern stadiums, you will have this luminaire arrangements placed on the roof and of course on different height levels. So I can just showcases how it looks like. So it looks really weird, but there's a concept behind it. It's a big experience behind that. It's everything balanced, how it is done and everything. This we can see a bit later. Let me just go out here. If we go to sport and then let's make or define the sports grid, let's change to UEFA. And now let's take the highest illuminance levels, you can see it's A+. A+ means really semi-final Champions League or Champions League. So, and you can see 2000 lux on horizontal level. And let's just say yes. Now I'm just going to apply it. So this is done. So, and now I'm just going to activate the calculation grid. And now we have to wait a little bit. Here we are on the stadium, and let's go here outside and one more time inside. Let's see which results we are getting. So, and here you can see it takes a while, of course, because you have seen the luminaire arrangement and everything. And this is really a UEFA conform design. It's already done by this luminaire arrangement. You can see that more or less. Here we are over 1,500 lux vertical. I think this is the challenge, definitely. It's not just the horizontal one, it's more the verticals. From each angle, you have to reach these values. And you need the right product and, of course, the right experience in order to do that. Here you can see the values. And here it's also very important. We have this MAUR value, which is the minimal adjusted uniformity ratio. And a couple of numbers, you know, it's just allowed not to exceed a special ratio. And this is more or less the secret behind because what is important, you have to avoid this cross shadow of the players, and this you in a big broadcasting events, and this you avoid this by following this this MAUR ratio, or this MAUR ratio. You have to fulfill that. And yeah, it's not so easy to do that, to be honest. And you can already see it's not just from the horizontal lux, you have also the ratio to achieve that from the vertical lux level. Here you can see from 4 directions, of course, you have everything to achieve. And here you can see all the values, you know, which are behind that. Maybe if we go here to the football number 1, and then we are just going in the properties, we go here to the nominal values. We are opening now the nominal values. No, I wanted to open something else. So let's go to the football 1 and to the PA area, and here the calculation button. And now you can see, if you see here this extension button under horizontal illuminance, if I'm opening this, you can see that the gradient, now it's set to the MAUR according UEFA. This is the term, it's according UEFA, but we can also calculate the gradient then according the CIE standard. You know, that's also, you can adjust this under this window settings. Okay, then, which is also very important, you have here under insert, as usual, as you know that already here, the camera positioning, you know, and the camera positioning, you can take it here. Maybe you know exactly the position of the camera, and here we have a question mark. That means this camera you have to put over the PA area of football 1. So, and now it's included inside. Now it will take a little bit a while just to refresh everything. But of course, the camera here, you have also the coordinates. Let's maybe keep it on 14 meters. It takes a while now until he will update the results. Now I'm getting an error report. Maybe it was a little bit too much for the application, or I have done just a combination of settings, which was a bit too much. But anyway, I can just say cancel. If you are facing sometimes such an error report, it does not matter, because immediately the program will open again. So, and here I will just say, yes, I restore the project. And now he's just doing the recalculation. But here you can already see that I'm calculating now the camera 2. And here on the right side now on the results, you can see the results 1924 lux for the camera illuminance. That's also, and here I can also just display the results here of the camera 2. That was also very important to show you this. Okay, maybe one thing is also important. If you're going to order the sport license within 30 days, you will getting, let me say, a guidance, which is called a self-study course. You are getting this free of charge. Yeah, that's worth to know that for your information. And of course, you will get all the support which is necessary for you. Okay, let's go now to the question section. We still have some minutes to go. Okay, let's have a look. So I would like to ask, if I aim arrows, did the values will dynamically change in real time, like in the dialogues 4.13? Yes, you have seen that. I have shown you this in real time. It will change dynamically. Yeah, I think this question uh, can be taken into account as answered. I already have shown you this. Okay, let's see the next question. Also, please guide about the shadow calculation. Of course, here, let me say you can still, after you have finished this calculation, run the real calculation, because the interactive mode is considering the direct part or direct fraction of the lighting calculation. And you still can add here the first interreflection of the light, towards the surfaces, and also the shadow testing. For instance, the shadows of the luminaires are also considered and everything. This you can also activate. If you're ever activating the first interflection, interreflection and shadow testing, then the result will be close to the real results by taking the ordinary calculation path. Yeah. But for rough working progress and so on, it's enough just to calculate with the direct part. Yeah, this question is also answered. So then how many result windows can be opened at the same time to see real-time results of different parameters? Let me tell you, I tried it with 6 until now. Maybe more is possible, yeah. But I think more than 6, yeah, it will be a little bit difficult to handle that. But I have seen 6. It's without any hassle um, feasible. Yeah, especially if you have the horizontal illuminance, the vertical illuminance, camera illuminance, then you have the RG value, for instance. Yeah. And that means you need 4 multiple views, or 4 views actually. I will tell you 6, and maybe there's more possible. But in practice, I'm not sure you will need more than 6. Okay, let's have the next one. So, what is the pole location are not symmetrical? What is the pole? Yeah, what is the pole locations are not symmetrical? Does the software support irregular pole locations and still place the luminaires? What I have shown you, it's you can still shift different poles, but once you have shifted one pole from this symmetrical order, then you can just navigate the floodlights on this pole. That means you cannot then take the mirror effect from the other ones, horizontal and vertical, once you have shifted this pole, because then you are breaking this arrangement, and then you have just to treat the floodlights single-wise. Okay. So then we have another one. What is the minimum system requirement to run the ReluxSport? To run ReluxSport, it's normally the same system requirements as using Relux Desktop, just nothing more, because of course if you want to use the rendering, the real-time renderer, then of course the system requirements are a bit higher, but if this is not the case, then you can still specify one more below. But to give you the exact answer, you can find it on our website. We have there just a chatbot, or you can go to our knowledge database, and there it is written under Relux Desktop system requirements. Then you can see exactly how many CPU and graphic card you need and much more things like that. So I don't have it now in my head, but we have a statement on that on our website. Okay. Okay, that's a nice question here. When will irregular grids will be available? Copy paste values from Excel to an irregular spots measurement grid needed locally, Belgium and France. You are fully right. You will not believe that we are working on a high speed in the background on it. And the next improvement, or let me say just evolvement, is having an irregular grid, or I will call it a free grid. And with this free grid, you can define the raster points or the grid points as your standard is telling you that, or your association. Especially in France, I know that because the grid points are a bit different, or the association is giving you other grid points as in other standards. But with this free or irregular grid, or let's say calculation surface, you are able to create any grid given from any association. So I know that sometimes the grid points are located on the sideline or something, and each association has its own pattern of grid points or recommendations. And with this free grid, you will get it. You can define it in the way you want to have it, or the association want to have it. So it will come very soon, very soon. That's we are working on a high speed on it, and this requirement is already given to us from different perspective, from different clients, and we are working on that. So believe me, I think maybe in 1-2 months we will have it. Okay, but this is, I think, very important. What is also important, I can also just add that maybe at the end of the year we will also add a curved measurement surface, curved inclined ones, especially if you have uh, a platform for ski springing, or you have a half pipe for skateboarder, So we will give you also a curved measurement surface where you can execute this measurement surface on your given profile, given curved profile. So by the end of the year, because this was also a requirement. So here's somebody. I'm sorry, I missed how to add a camera. Can you show it again, please? I can show that again, but I will not do that because after that you will get a link where the video is also recorded, this one, and then you can take a look on that. I hope it's fair enough. Huh? Okay. Yes. Can calculate the 4 verticals for one grid point. Yeah, this I have shown already. That's possible. Yes. You have seen also the 4 verticals. Yeah, you can add that definitely. It's should not be a problem. Maybe I can show you this if you go here to this football pitch here, go to the calculations. You have here also, you can add also verticals and everything. Yeah. And 4 verticals are nothing else as a cylindrical. Huh? So, okay. Oh, that's a tough question. It is possible to import aiming coordinates from another software, such as Calculix. Can an Excel table be used for this purpose? No, until now it's not possible and also not defined. Yeah. So I would like to ask, if I aim arrows, did the values will dynamically change in real time? Yeah, this we had already. Shadow calculation, I told you about that already. So, okay, the basic options without license. I mean, for that you can to want to have it exactly. I can just wait a second. If you go here to our website, change of course the language and go to design, you have here the ReluxSport new. And here you can see already these are the basic functions, you know. Of course it's in German here, but anyway. Yeah, let's say PA, TA, all the profiles you will not have, you know. You can design until 3 luminaires or 3 floodlights per pole. If you want to have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, it's not possible. Yeah. And the documentation reports, you will have also just a basic variant of it. Maybe let's put it this way: if you have a stadium, 75 lux for a school or something, this is possible to do that. Yeah. But another complex issues will be not. I will not say it's not impossible, but at least in this dynamic way and how to do that, this will be not possible. Okay, this I have showed you. How can I replace all luminaires of the same type with a new luminaire type? This I have shown you how to do that. There are different ways how to do that. The best way is to go to the luminaire list and then change it by hand. If you don't want to make it for each cell, then you have to go in the project tree to the poles, selecting them, and then within the pole it does. And then the question is how many luminaires you have on one pole, and this in the properties you can change in one time. That's possible. So what if I want to perform a simulation for a recreational sport that is not included in the sports utilization factor? For instance, golf. I'm not sure if golf is not included in the application. Let me just have a look on it. Most probably not, but let's see. No, it's here not included. Maybe you have to wait until we will update this irregular grid option, you know. And by having this feature, this irregulated grid, yes, then you can dimension your golf area as you want and define the profile on it as you want. Yeah. So that's my advice how you can do that. But of course, you have said it's recreational. You know, recreational means there is no standard. Yeah, or you can make it as maybe amount of people will feel right. You know, so it's up to you how to create this recreational space. So we have just 2-3 questions still remaining. How do the floodlight arrangement without? Okay, how do the floodlight arrangement without the poles? For instance, if floodlights are installed on catwalk, or how to mirror them? Yeah, that's also a bit. Then you are making this with the classical old school technique what we had always. You just go, let me be here for instance. So then you will take, let me say, the product single wise, you're just placing here the product. I will do that now for one single luminaire. Okay, here you can see that. So now I have placed the product without any pole, and then you go to the product, right mouse click, and then you can see create group, and then you are making here the mirroring effect, and then you can mirror to X and Y, and then you have it in 4 directions or just in 2 directions. But that's the command how to do that, So I will not do that now, it takes too much. But this is the command how to do that. Okay. So how does the 3 buildings appeared? Which 3 buildings? Anyway, 3 buildings. I said the rendering. I have just created, let me say, the podiums for the spectators. So the 3D buildings appeared. That's I cannot get the question right, to be honest. What do you mean by the 3 buildings? There were no 3 buildings. I had just 3D objects where the spectators are sitting there. Maybe another thing I have forgotten to mention, that's maybe my last statement, and please contact me if you still have some remaining questions, because I want also to close the session on time. I'm already some minutes above it. But anyway, I think the topic is very excited, and I will answer you all the questions after the session if you write me, or if you write us, Relux. Last thing I want to say, also one thing, if you buy the license, then automatically you have also the module obtrusive light included, Obtrusive light to calculate the ULR, the UFR value, and all the glare indicators mentioned there regarding CIE 150 or 1214 -2 or even 12193 EN. You have some tables mentioning the limits for the obtrusive light. And just by going here, if I'm opening this, let's just for this project, are you sure you want to activate? Let's say yes. So, and here you can see that, for instance, here I have the CIE values, pre-curview. After that, here other limits, the ULR value, you can see that. The luminance, facade luminance, I can evaluate, and of course the vertical lux levels, on the windows, on the property facade, that's very important to mention that. But this obtrusive light module is of course part of a ReluxSport and aligned also just to the spots applications. That's important to know. Okay, I think I have finished today's session regarding ReluxSport. If you have any questions, you need further information, please let me know, let us know. Anytime we will give you the right support for it. And if you take this license, then within 30 days, you will have again the self-study courses without any additional charge. Okay, thank you very much for your valuable time giving to us, and I hope we could offer you some really new development, which will at the end of the day just ease your design process, what you are facing each day. Thank you very much. Have a nice day, and bye-bye.